Hello and welcome to Polloi Two, and today we have an unboxing of sorts because I have in front of me here a bag full of Star Wars figures, because Mrs. Polloi and I have just been to a flea market nearby, and there were a couple of things there that were sort of quite interesting. There was an action man, but it was a little bit overpriced, but I found this bag of Star Wars figures. The guy wanted £30 for it. It's all vintage stuff. I had a very quick look inside and thought, well, you know what, £30, it's worth the risk. So I grabbed it, and what we're going to do now is actually take a look at what I bought and see whether it is actually worth £30. As I say, I very sort of briefly looked inside it. There were a load of vintage figures, at least 10, which is what I was sort of adding up in my mind quickly. £30, that means about £3 a figure, which is what I like to spend on Star Wars figures. I don't think vintage Star Wars figures are generally worth much more than about £3 a figure, certainly if they are beta figures. So let's have a look inside this bag and we'll see what I got and whether it was worth the money. Okay, so let's get into this bag. As I say, it was £30 for everything, and I can see that there were a few sort of mini rigs. In fact, I'll just sort of show you quickly what's inside. There were a few mini rigs and a load of figures. Didn't look like there were any accessories, but I thought for £30 it was certainly worth the risk. So let's tip this out. Okay, so there you go. This is what was in that bag, and as you can see, it was actually quite a lot of stuff. We'll start with the mini rig. So we've got the Cap 2 there, which is missing a couple of arms and the canopy, otherwise actually in reasonable condition. We have another of the mini rigs. This is in 4, I think this is, so that's in pretty rough condition. In fact, I can see one of the wings there, so it does have one of the wings, but the clip on the top has broken, so that will probably just go in my box of junk mini rigs, of which I've got a growing collection of those. There's another mini rig here, which is the, I don't know, I can't remember what this one's called, AST, something like that. Again, fairly rough condition. It's missing the guns. It does have the canopy, but that is also broken. So again, that will just go in my box of sort of spares for mini rigs. Then we've got part of a speeder bike. We've got the bottom 2 pieces of the speeder bike. No flaps, no gun again, so that can just go in my box of spare speeder bike parts. Then a whole load of other pieces. Oh, actually, there are some more accessories. We have an X-Wing gun, which actually, apart from the fact that it's bent, is in pretty good condition, and those are certainly worth a fair bit these days because they're often missing. So that is a pretty good piece to have in the box. I'm very happy with that. I can also see we've got the chest armour for an AT-ST, which is a bit bent, but doesn't look like anything is broken on it, so we can straighten those. That's just a bit of freshly boiled water should yeah, easily straighten those out. So those are 2 very useful pieces. We have, what's that? Oh, do you know what that is? That is the claw piece from a Kenner Ecto-1 Real Ghostbusters vehicle, and actually a piece that I need. I've got one of those missing on mine. That's pretty useful. I've not seen one of those sort of loose before. So that is a pretty good piece as well. Well worth the £30. And then we have this selection of figures. So let me sort these all out and we'll see which ones we've got. Okay, again, not a bad selection. There are 18 figures. Again, that works out at less than £2 each. We've got some nice Ewoks. In fact, I can see we've got a couple of Ewoks here with the wrong hoods on. That is Wicket's hood, so we can put that on Wicket. So there's a nice little Wicket there. He's a pretty hard figure to find at the moment. Don't know why he's so hard to find. I guess because he's tiny. So I've got a Wicket there. We have got a Log Ray there with his hood, so that's a nice figure. We've got 3 Chief Chirpers. We've got Tebow, who again has a Wicket hood on, so we've got a spare Wicket hood there. We have got a Gamorrean Guard, who is in pretty reasonable condition, although has a rather large amount of frosting on him. You can see there's sort of white marks all over him, so hopefully that will clean off. It just needs a bit of a hot soapy water. That should tidy up. We have got a Klaatu there with his cape, again not in too bad condition. We have got Bib Fortuna with his outer cape, but not the piece of plastic that goes around his chest, but again in pretty reasonable condition. Has quite a lot of frosting on his feet. We have got a Hoth Rebel Soldier. We have got a Luke Jedi Knight. Just needs a bit of a clean. He's got some red marker pen or something on his face. But again, it comes with his robes. There's 2 Chewbaccas. For those of you out there who think there are variants called the green limbed Chewbacca, there's a green limbed Chewbacca. It's not a variant, it's just the sun damage. We've got another Chewbacca there with sort of pretty reasonable looking limbs. So 2 different Chewbaccas. We have a reuse, again, very nice condition. We've got a large head Han Solo who just needs a thoroughly good clean. 2 AT-AT drivers. Again, very, very dirty. and a Dengar. So all of that and the mini rigs and a few other little accessories was £30. I actually think that's pretty good value. All of these will clean up really nicely. In fact, why don't I give them a quick clean now, and then we'll see what they look like when they're all cleaned up and see if I can get some of this white frosting off them. They may end up looking even better than they do currently. After a good clean, they are looking a whole lot better, and I have to say some of these are in very nice condition. They're certainly not mint condition, but none of these are really beaters. They've got quite a lot going for them, and for £30 I think they were an absolute bargain. There are a few little issues with them. Dengar is particularly yellowed. He's got a very yellow backpack there, but overall he's still a pretty nice looking figure. And we have this Chief Chirper here who has an issue I've never seen before. Normally when kids get these, they mark them by sort of putting a letter or something on the foot. On this one, it's actually been melted in, so someone has melted in a letter T on the bottom, but it doesn't really matter. He's still a pretty nice looking figure, and as you can see there are 3 Chief Chirpers there, but other than that they are really nice figures. And I've managed to straighten out the X-Wing gun as well, so that's looking pretty cool. That's a nice X-Wing gun that I can fit onto one of my vehicles that's missing them. I've also straightened out the little chest armor piece for the ATST. Again, that's a piece I was actually needing. So I have to say I'm really pleased with this. It's always a bit of a risk when you buy something like that. I probably should have checked it a bit better, but I just saw the bag, the guy wanted 30 quid, and I thought, well, you know what, I might as well go for it, and I'm really pleased I did. There's a whole load of really nice figures here, and it certainly was worth £30. And there's actually some pieces I need, like this little hook here. This is for, as I say, Ecto 1, the real Ghostbusters vehicle. So yeah, it was certainly really well worth picking this up. And I think if I was to stick these on eBay, I'd probably get somewhere to around sort of £60 to £70 for a lot, because they have cleaned up really nicely, but I don't think they're particularly worth that. A couple of pounds a figure is really what I'm happy to pay for Star Wars figures. And when people ask me, you know, are there Star Wars figures out there? Where do you find them? As I say, just keep looking. You never know what you will find. This was at a flea market today. Last time I went to the flea market, there was nothing. This time, there just happened to be this bag of figures, and I grabbed it. So there's always stuff out there. You've just got to keep looking. Don't expect to find things every time you go hunting, but sometimes you will find that odd little gem, like this bag of Star Wars figures. So there you go. That is my unboxing for today. If you've enjoyed this video, then make sure to hit the subscribe button and tap the bell to be notified each time I upload a new video. And if you really enjoyed it, then head on over to my main channel, Polloi, and subscribe there as well. Thanks for watching.